Designated Drinker Show, the podcast that's raising the bar on craft cocktails. I am your host, Louise Solis, and with me, as always, is my very talented friend who possesses pure animal magnetism, the mixtress DC Gina.
That's a first.
You like that?
I do. I like that one.
Good. So, where are you coming from today? Where are you at?
I am in DC at last call, doing all of this from my phone today, so apologize for any inconvenience. And we are in a dark,
happy to have you.
Not open bar. We're trying to reopen, but we'll see how we get there. So
we'll get there.
We're
staying positive. We're going to get there.
Yes,
so
we are staying positive.
Absolutely. So speaking of positive, Gina, most people know about the military working dogs. They're out there doing their job, but there are a few lesser known creatures that also conduct missions for our U.S. military.
What?
You ready for this? For this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
First up, guess what these are? These little soldiers are some of the busiest around. What might you think that creature be? Oh, you don't know?
Nothing.
It would be the honeybee. Yes, the honeybee. Did you know that they can actually smell explosives and other compounds nearly as well as a dog? So researchers are actually beginning to use them for bomb detection. Poor little bee. So another reason why not to kill the bees. So let's stay on this. So the Marine Corps, they've often throughout time have had to figure out innovative ways to resupplying our military men and women who are in the field, including taking a step back in time. No, they do not have time machines that we know of anyway, but they have a team of pack animals and running mules. And they actually deployed the running mules in Afghanistan, because they were up in the mountains, able to get places that other things could not. And mules were being used still. And to this day, the Marines maintain a training program in Bridgeport, California, to keep our military men and women in the know on how to properly care for these animals and employ them out in the field. The one thing they can't seem to do is they can't teach them to say hoorah. They just kind of say yaw.
Come on. That's funny.
Okay, last but not least, we're going to take a dive. Yes, a dive into the nation's legion of very clever creatures that hail from the deep blue. Yes, I'm talking about the U.S. Navy's team of trained dolphins and sea lions. Now, this is really cool. They have trained these animals to protect our vulnerable harbors. And so what they'll do is they're swimming about doing their business. They see a mine. They actually tag it with a buoy. And so that then they can remove it from the waters, making it safer for the military to come in and out. And the other thing they do is when they come upon an enemy swimmer, they tag them. They put a tracker on their scuba tank. So that way we obviously can track their movement and remove any kind of unwanted personnel in the area, so to speak.
That's insane.
And so these little brave creatures, they have been deployed to Vietnam, the Persian Gulf, and both U.S. coastlines. So luckily they don't get the bends, so they can go really deep and come right back up.
Where do you find all this stuff? I love it.
I drink a lot, remember? I drink a lot.
Yeah.
So speaking of trained beasts, training beasts to serve in our military ranks brings me to today's designated drinker. I know it was a long path, but thank you for staying with me. He is a man who is keeping me in boot camp, probably never letting me out. He's the CEO and founder of Canine Dominion, Jay Lewis. Welcome to the show, Jay.
Hello, how you doing?
Hi, Jay.
Hi.
Did you know all of those little creatures?
I did for the most part, except for the bees. The bees is new to me.
Yeah, that's kind of actually they say that the dolphins and sea lions are actually kind of being they're moving away from that program because drones can do the same thing.
Yeah.
So but they're not risking any lives that way. But I thought it was pretty damn cool.
It is.
In your military experience, did you ever come across any of these other kind of animals?
No. Well, when we went to handler's course back in San Antonio, they take us to SeaWorld, and we talked to the trainers there. and see how they train their sea lions and dolphins and whales. And it's funny because a lot of their techniques with tones and stuff is the same way I use when I train dogs.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's really cool. So how long were you in the Air Force then?
I was in the Air Force 12 years.
12 years. 12 very long years.
12 very long years. But I had fun.
Good. You were there. I mean, your time in service was a lot. There was a lot of deployment, correct?
A lot. Because right when the war first kicked off, the Second War first kicked off.
Wow. Well, first and foremost, let me thank you for your service. If I've not done that, I am remiss. So thank you.
Thank you.
So how did you become a dog trainer? How did all this start?
It all started back when I was about, I want to say I was in kindergarten, actually.
Wow.
My neighbor, we lived in Arlington, Texas at the time. That's where I'm from. I'm from Texas. And my neighbor,
I would have never guessed.
We trying to talk about my accent?
What accent?
Yeah, I have an accent. It comes out more when I'm tired. But my neighbor had a blue heeler named Blue. And I love that dog. I've always was raised around dogs. I had a chow chow at the time named Chunky. And I know. And he was chunky too. But when I saw how Mr. Lewis had trained his dog, I was like, wow. And I was so interested in the dog that he showed me some steps on training dogs. And I just took his dog out a lot to train. So his dog was trained for herding and hunting and just did a lot of basic tricks. And that's where my passion for actually training started.
That's crazy that you were that young and introduced. I think it's amazing too when people can identify those small moments, because I think as adults, sometimes we don't think much of what we're doing. And lo and behold, Mr. Lewis probably played a larger role in who you became and just finding that space, finding out that about yourself.
And it's funny because like I was telling one of my friends about the same story. If you ever read the book, The Alchemist, everything comes full circle. So I had left dog training for a long period of time and ended up coming back to my first love. And despite having all these other types of jobs, my passion came back to me and I realized where it was. And here I am training dogs and I love it.
That's awesome. But you started training in the Air Force, right? Do you start off I called you, we both know my husband was in the Air Force and I was like, it's not a canine cop. What is it called in the Air Force?
Kind of the same thing. We're called military working dog handlers or trainers, or sometimes they call us canine cops or canine SF. Because in the Air Force we call it security forces, which is SF. So we have a lot of names, but it's pretty much just canine.
I think people call you a lot of things.
Yeah, especially when you pull people over.
Yeah.
But
so you were exposed to. So when you first go in, I mean, I don't know if everyone understands. When you first go in, you knew your job in the Air Force, correct? You went in, you had a job, but going in, did you know that dog handling was a path for you at that time, or an available path for you?
Well, I knew it was an available path. My recruiter actually told me about it before I even joined the Air Force. So with that, it's one of those. After I went through training and everything, I went through basic training in tech school. When I got to my first base down in Valdosta, Georgia, which I was part of the 820th. I hung out with a lot of the canine staff there, and they actually showed me like one of the trainers there was his name was Sergeant Jacobs, excuse me, and he showed me a lot of things. Him, Joe Crow showed me a lot of things. Sergeant Branch, my mentor Willie Harold, he showed me a lot of things. So sure. That made me love it even more because I got to see the actual capabilities of dogs from the patrol side to the detection side, and it's made me want to do it more and more. So I put in the work, and I'm with K9.
That's awesome. So when you train military dogs, do they identify that they're like good at one thing, like, or do you train them through all of the things and then realize where their talents lie? So
basically, we start with basic obedience because you gotta have basic obedience before you have anything else, right?
I'm working on it.
I'll be good, but from there they start doing like different tests to see how they are with detection. And then from there, we see where their numbers are to figure out, okay, do we need a explosive dog or do we need a bomb dog? And most of the time, we end up training more explosive dogs than narcotic dogs.
What's an explosive dog? What do you mean by that?
So it's training to detect explosives.
So what's the difference between a bomb dog then?
Same thing.
Oh, okay.
So that's it. Does it bomb dog or explosive dog?
That's what I was wondering. Are they the same thing?
Yeah, same thing. So normally, like I just say bomb dogs instead of explosive dog because but it's the same thing. It's called EDD, and then you have narcotic dogs, it's NDD.
And they're obviously, the funny thing is I was coming back from the airport, I was at the airport coming back from St. Martin, and I had been on the beach for like 10 days and had my one bag that I just used every day. And then traveling back, of course, I used that bag, put all, probably my souvenirs. Who knows what I put in there? But apparently a dog knew I had something in there. And it was this cute little beagle, and he was just walking around, and I got to the I was waiting for my luggage, and of course I'm like, yay, here comes the little dog. I'm so excited. He came over and he sat at my feet, and I was like, hi, little guy. I apparently had an orange in my bag, and I was completely unaware because it had been my beach bag all week. And he detected the orange, and lady was really mean to me. And I was like, come on, lady, it was an orange. I get it. I signed the TSA paperwork that said, I promise I don't have any fruits or vegetables on me. But it wasn't like it was, a kilo of Coke. It was a damn orange.
Breaking the law. Look at you. Such a rebel.
I know. And I was on a warning list. I had to go through this other list. And like, it was funny as we get through the line, they set me out to this other side, and they didn't fine me. They gave me a warning, and they threatened to give me a $600 fine, but they put me on a list. And if I were caught with anything again, within 6 years, I had like a 6-year window of time that I would immediately be fined and could be imprisoned. And I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
It seems like a lot for an orange.
That's what I thought. And then then Dave is, of course, waiting for me, and they look at his, and, he has clearance. So they're looking at it, and they looked at him and they're like, why are you with her? And he's like, she's my wife.
Oh, man.
Yeah, they tried to destroy my life and my marriage all over a damn navel orange.
That must be one powerful orange.
It is, apparently. So how long have you had your dog training company? Canine Dominion, right?
3 years, yes. Canine Dominion.
Oh, for 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, what was your big transition? Did you have a big transition plan coming out of the Air Force, or what did that look like for you? Because I don't think people also understand how difficult it can really be transitioning out of one career, the military, into the private sector.
Well, for me, when I got out of the military, it was one of those. I was medically retired, so that gave me a little bit of advantage getting a job because they have a point system, and they always hire veterans due to the point system. However, it was very difficult trying to find a job because either I was overqualified for certain positions, or they just didn't have people. They didn't need the people at the time, and for a while, I was like, okay, I'll just be a cop again. And I went through all the cop districts around here, did all the PT test, but I didn't do the PT test. But I ended up saying, nah, I don't want to be a cop no more. Because I got tired, man. I got tired of long hours. Don't get me wrong, I love the police because I'm prior law enforcement. But however, man, those hours, I got tired of those hours. Yeah. So I ended up working for a shelter for a while. I'm a shelter for a little bit. And while I was there, I just got tired of seeing dogs get put down for small stuff. Yeah. So that's how I started my business.
That's amazing.
Small training issues. It just annoyed the mess out of me. And the last one kind of broke my heart to the point where I didn't want to be around any dogs because it was so sad. And I dreaded coming to work. So it was like, yeah, I need to do something different.
Yeah. You hear really sad stories about people going, oh, my dog would continuously chew. So I took him to the shelter. And you're like, you what? Like I guess to your point is that there's an awful lot you can do to save an animal, and lack of training shouldn't be the reason why it loses its life.
Yes. Yes. And it's funny because a lot of people don't realize that the bad behaviors that your dog have is because of you. That you fostered those bad behaviors.
Shut up.
Jay, I have that same problem with my kids.
With kids.
They do all of the things I didn't know I was doing, and they mimic to me like a mirror. So I'm terrified of getting a dog because it's going to literally be the worst unruly dog in the world.
Well, you know the thing about it, but the kids and dogs, I have kids also, but the training a kid and training a dog is not that much different. It's all about being consistent and being fair.
So I know exactly what I need to do as soon as I'm going to get a dog, and then you're going to train my kids as well. We'll put them all together. And I'll be like, oh, yeah, like, can you sit? Great. They're still trainable, I think. They're only 5 and 6. I feel like I got something.
Ooh, that's pushing it.
I know. It's like a little bit of window, I heard.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
That's
do you know
so
how many
funny.
times? Do you know how many times I hear Jay go, "I gave you all the tools. It's you now."
I mean, I have
All
to
the
say,
time.
it's pretty impressive. Louise's dogs, and I know that the listeners are listening just like you guys know each other, but Louise has some really amazingly obedient and trained dogs, which is cool.
They are.
I mean, like, I have friends that you go over their house and their dog is like, I don't know, 75-pound giant sheepdog and jumps on you and pushes you right over. And you're like, is he ever going to stop doing that? And they're like, oh, he jumps. And you're like, I just fell, but okay. So
The crazy thing is
behavior.
Yep. So when I first reached out for Jay, because I have a little dog, I have one of my little labs has got nervous energy, which Jay has taught me. At first, I thought she was aggressive, but he's like, no, she's just nervous. Teaching me new tools on how to handle that. But the funny thing is, I looked around. I'm like, no, I don't need you to teach me how to do this, or this. I just need you to teach me how to do this. And he's like, mm-hmm. And he came over that first day. He came over and he's like, okay. And now I'm all nervous because he's like, okay, so show me what you got. And I'm like, and I go get the treats out of the refrigerator. And his first just judgment was like, oh, you use treats. And I was like, ah.
Oh, man.
Basically, the first day was letting me know how little I actually knew. He broke me down, just like boot camp broke me down.
So I'm going to get a dog and I'm going to get Jay and it's going to be a puppy. And I'm like, can you fix this before I ruin it?
Yeah.
I
Do
got
you do that? Is that part of your services? Like you get a puppy and like day one?
I'd rather have people that come to me with puppies because I can start them off completely fresh, like a blank canvas. And I can start them exactly from day one, step one, and mold them to exactly where I want them to be. And especially those that never had dogs, that don't know anything about dogs, I love that. But then I have those clients that been around dogs their entire life, and that's the difficult ones. I.e., the other lady.
Hey, I resemble that comment.
Oh, man.
Louise, I think we need a drink.
Let's do it. I do think it's funny that Jay said that he'll train you, not the dog. Did you notice that the whole time he's talking about training you, which is great.
Because the dog already knows what to do day one.
I need it. Jay, I have a bunny and a cat. I mean, let's just talk about it, really. I have a bunny and a cat that, that's just bizarre, right? Who has that?
Yeah. That's
it's like a bunny and a cat walked into a bar and I'm not sure how the punchline yet, but I'll let everybody know after the chronicles begin.
Gotcha.
Let's have that drink and maybe we'll be inspired.
Well, speaking of being inspired, I was looking up cocktails that we, were military based or had some sort of history or a name or something for this drink. And, it's really funny. I've been bartending a long time. And my spouse says to me, he goes, why don't you do a kamikaze? I'm like, that's a shot. He goes, well, no, it's actually a cocktail. I'm like, it was a cocktail. So we are going to make today a kamikaze, which is real. Don't even say it's actually quite brilliant.
No.
So it is literally missing one ingredient to a cosmopolitan, right? So a cosmopolitan is vodka, Cointreau, lime, and cranberry juice. A Kamikaze is vodka, Cointreau, and lime juice. Now, some people put roses. If you went to a bar and you asked for a shot, you're probably gonna get it with roses, lime juice. And if you like it a little bit sweet, you can add some simple syrup to it. But this drink is the easiest drink to make. I happen to love it frozen. You can shake it, serve it up, put it on the rocks. Really, any way that you like to drink it. It was actually made popular in the 1950s, and it got its name, the Kamikaze, because you can drink them so fast, and it just takes it right to the head. So there you go. So that's how I got to you. Do you like that, Jay? You're like, now hearing you speak, I maybe should have said, let's be a little bit more polished and finer training, but we'll do that in your next episode when I get a puppy and you're at my house and you're like, you give me the dog because you should not have this pet. Because how I have an unruly bunny, no one will ever know, right? All right, so we're gonna do this. It's gonna be, let me back this up so everybody can see. I actually, it's an easy cocktail. Frozen, you could do this, again, on the rocks, you put it in a shaker tin. I'm gonna put mine into a blender top, and we're gonna put in there 2 ounces of vodka, 1 ounce of Cointreau, and then we're going to use fresh lime juice. You can use half a lime whole, or 1 ounce of lime juice. And for my sweeties out there that like it a little bit sweeter, you're going to add like half an ounce to 1 ounce of simple syrup. I am personally not going to put any simple syrup in it because I feel like the Cointreau adds enough of the sweetener to this drink.
How much lime juice did you say, Gina? I'm sorry.
You're going to use 1 ounce or a half of a whole lime.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to put my
one more time on that, on the Cointreau, how much did we want of that?
1 ounce.
1 ounce?
So you're at 2-1-1.
Okay. Thank you.
And then if you're making the frozen drink at home, you want to add to your blender 1 1/4 cup of ice to make 1 smooth cocktail.
And I'm doing a shaker, so I fill the small half of my shaker, right?
Huh?
I spill the small part of my shaker, right?
Yes, small part of your shaker tin, like a pro tip. And then I'm going to then turn on my blender once I find my top. Here's something really important when making blended cocktails. Put the top on.
Yeah, always keep your top on, Gina.
I mean, you know.
Nice and frosty. Okay, Gina, tell me how I can't get this off.
So you gotta bang it on the side that has the space. Look at the top of it, that side, yep. Hit it really hard with your palm, and it'll come on.
Aha!
So, now, today we're going to show you the frozen drink. Now, see, if you follow my directions and you only use 1 1/4 cup of ice, you will get this beautiful slush based on your 4 ounces inside of there. And this is what you're looking for, is being able to pile, and I'm going to move my, perfect, see, the rocks? So you can see the top of it, and you have that on there. I'm not used to not having...
Ooh, that's nice and that's like zesty.
Yeah. Now you don't have to garnish it. Of course, I cannot not have a garnish. I'm just gonna put a little mint. And
mint.
I'm waiting for Jay, and we'll see this
what do you
drink.
got? We gotta do our cheers. Okay, turn your, there you go. We could drink these all day, Jay.
Easy, right?
Yes.
You can, just so everyone knows, Jay is available, and we could get his type up on the website.
I like that. That's even better, right?
If you like him tall, dark, and handsome.
I'm into it.
And he'll teach you how to sit.
Jay, we got lots of ladies that come into the bar. We'll make it happen.
Yes.
So
soon we'll have lots of ladies come to the bar.
Louise.
Let's do our housekeeping. Where are they going to get this recipe, Gina?
They're going to get it at designateddrinker.show.
Where's that?
designateddrinker.show.
Absolutely. And we're going to have all of our tips, tricks, and how-tos on this cocktail, as well as all the other cocktails from our past episodes. And the other thing we're going to definitely do is make sure that we have a link out to Jay's website. With all kidding aside, he's an amazing dog trainer. And one thing, I'm still a work in progress, but one thing that's amazing, Gina, is to see him work with my dog, because she's very sweet, and we have a big challenge, or I have a big challenge, and it's mostly me. But I get confidence watching him work with her, because he shows me that it's possible, and then it really does bring it down to, it's me, jackass. It's not the dog. But it's really, he's patient and he's frank, and he's kind of like a lot like you and a lot like me, in that if you ask us, you're going to get exactly what you think. It's not like there's no sap. It's not sweet. It's like, oh, you'll get it. It's like, no, here's what you're doing wrong. But it's like to the point. It's what you want, right? It's like, I want my dog not to bite other dogs. So
I think that's fair.
Yeah, it's great training. And there's no treats. That's the other thing. No treats. I was like,
the treat.
So you learned?
Yeah. I'm motivated by a treat every now and again. That's for sure. Now, the treat doesn't have to be edible, but I like a treat.
Oh, I like a good pat on the belly.
Different show. Different show.
So before we go head out, Jay, and Gina definitely has one more question, but I have a question for you. What is, for our listeners, is there one thing you can say about training that's like something somebody is attainable, or something you can apply, whether it be just a mindset, or a way just to help somebody who's maybe, stumbling around trying to figure out how the right way, again, might be thinking something's wrong with my dog. What is a takeaway somebody could have?
One of the things when it comes to dogs in general is just be the leader, be the boss of your dog. And I'm not saying be dominant, but show your dog structure, show your dog guidance, and show them what you can and can't do. Let them know they're doing something good. Let them know they're doing something bad, and be consistent. Those are the two things that's the key to all training: being a leader to your dog and being consistent. And if you're consistent, then the dog will continue to know what you expect from them, and not wonder what's next.
Interesting. You gonna apply that to the kids, Gina?
They don't listen to me.
It works for kids too.
They barely listen to me. They listen to me only when it is treat motivated. It is 100% my fault. So I've heard if you raise, basically my kids think that I'm the worst. I'm always punishing them for something. And I'm like, you need to time out, whatever it is. But I heard that if my kids actually become good people, that they'll raise good people, right? So that way I can spoil my grandchildren, and that'll be something else. So think of me as a grandmother is just another story. Anyway, my question is my turn. Stop it. All right, Jay, here's my question. Are you ready?
Yes.
He's going to stab you with a knife. Good
No,
Lord.
I'm not. I'm nervous to ask him the question because I was thinking I was kind of coming up with a really cool animal, and I finally did. So in this day and age, everybody always identifies themselves with some sort of spirited animal, and they're like, I really identify myself with the wombat because it is found in Australia, and it's both night and day, and it's a stealthy killer, and you wouldn't see it coming, right? If you had to be one spirited ingredient and you had to identify you, what would it be and why? And it could be spirit as in alcohol or spirit as in garlic.
Let's see. That's a good question.
We get that all the time. It's a good question.
Good question. If I had to be an ingredient, what would it be? Maybe garlic.
All right, why? Now tell me why.
Why? Because garlic makes anything better.
Oh, I agree, but that's my Italianness. I think there's never enough garlic.
I just thought it was because he's out there killing or like safe from vampires. Who knows? He is out in the dating world. You never know what it's like out there.
I mean, I chose the correct animal. It's, it's a wombat, stealthy killer. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Jay, next time you see her.
Jay, it's really a pleasure. Cheers.
Again, thank you for your service. Thank you for keeping me from getting arrested.
Or soon.
Exactly. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank
Bye.
you.
The Designated Drinker Show is produced by Missing Link, a podcast media company dedicated to connecting people to intelligent, engaging, and informative content. Missing Link is a proud partner of Hearing Charities of America, a nonprofit organization that supports those who are deaf or hard of hearing. To learn more about HCOA or to find out about Missing Link's other podcasts, head over to missinglink.company. That's missinglink.company.